Welcome back to Rifleman 2.0, and today I have a very special one for you. None other than the Stevens Model 16 Takedown Rolling Block Rifle. Check this thing out. So today, like I said, we are bringing out the Model 16 Stevens Rolling Block Rifle. And this is no ordinary 22 long rifle. So it is not a true Remington, obviously, being a Stevens rolling block rifle, but it is very closely modeled after it. And on top of it is a very easy takedown rifle. You can break this thing apart super easy with just a turn of one screw and carry it with you pretty much anywhere. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, first I'm going to show you why this thing is called a takedown. You see this screw right here on the bottom? All you do is you turn it. Like so many of the Stevens rifles, they were takedowns. You pull a screw out, make sure you secure it, and then the stock and the action will separate from the barrel just by pulling it apart. And just like that, it's already taken down for you. Now when I picked this thing up at the flea market of all places, I got very lucky. One, the price was right, and two, it came with the original takedown sleeve. This thing is beautiful tanned leather, and I couldn't believe it. I said, sold. And then I asked the guy for how much he wanted to sell it for. But anyway, it's got the two separate pouches here. They got the rain covers on them and very simple snaps. And then obviously you can tighten it down by securing it through the buckles here. And then right there as well, that joins it, the two sleeves together, as you can see. Right? And then you get the carrying strap on the back too. So it's super simple how you put this thing in here. So all you do is take your barrel, put in one of the sleeves, like so, secure it, take your stock in action, stick it in one of the sleeves. And then with this one, you secure it down with the buckle. And there you have it, just as easy as that. Super handy. I can carry this thing anywhere I want to. If I want to attach this to a backpack or stick it in a backpack, whatever, I know it's going to be safe from the elements, and I can quickly and easily put it back together. Pretty cool. All right, now let's look at this thing. First and foremost, got to put it back together. And just as easy as it came apart, just put that barrel back in there, put that retention screw back in there, make sure she's good and tight. Boom. Just that easy. Nice and steady. Now, let's look at the bits and pieces of this thing. Now, as I mentioned before, she is a rolling block action, just like the old Remington rolling blocks. Stevens was pretty famous about reproducing, relatively faithfully, the old designs. You'll see that a lot with the favorite rifles. They very closely resemble Sharps rifles, or even high walls or low walls, things like that. Well, they didn't stop there. So we have a pseudo rolling block here. So let's see how the action works on this thing. Now, like I was talking about with the rolling block action, it's just this simple. Cock the hammer, reach for this side loading lever right here, pop it down, load your cartridge straight in there, pop the lever back up, and she's ready to go. So not surprisingly, by the design, it's a very old design, Remington came out with the rolling blocks as far back as 1867, so it's not surprising that Stevens started making this version starting in 1898, and these saw production all the way until 1913. So, oh yes, she is definitely an old girl. And there were different model modifications. The Model 16 here is very different from the ones that followed on after it, namely with the original side lever there. They ended up changing the model up after 1913 to the number 26, which actually opened the action with an underneath lever, just like the favorite series that followed on after that. Coincidentally, or maybe not so much by coincidence, the 1915s were coming out, the 1915 favorites, like I've already showed you before on the channel, with the under lever that would come out. Now, by calling this a Stevens rolling block, that's not technically correct. It's actually the crackshot series. That's what they were called, so they couldn't really call them a rolling block. They didn't want to get sued into the ground by Remington, of course, so naturally, being a copy, it became the Stevens crackshot with a rolling block action. Makes sense, right? So let's check this thing out a little bit more. Now, some other basic features on this thing are obviously the semi-fixed sights. So you'll see that the rear sight is adjustable in the typical slider fashion. Now, this one's been sitting in the same position for, maybe 100 years or so. So it is kind of stuck the way it is. I can get it to go at a higher elevation, not so much on a lower elevation. And you'll see in the front sight right there, it's just a basic dovetail cut in front sight blade there. Unfortunately, it appears that mine might be a little bit bent, so we're going to see how that affects accuracy when I start shooting this thing. So enough talk, let's get to shooting. So today we're going to be doing a series of different ranges starting at 15, going up to the 25, and then depending on how it's shooting, all the way out to the 50. And because she is an old girl, I am going to have to go with the good old CCI standard velocity in 22 long rifle going 1070 feet per second. Got to keep the velocities down for these older ones. They don't like high velocity stuff, and they definitely don't like copper. I tested it one time, and sure enough, it overexpanded in the chamber, and yeah, I had to pry it out. Not fun. Now, seeing that she's a single shot old lady, I thought no better device to use for my loading to keep it fast and easy would be my Workaday custom gun leather shell sleeve. I got 10 on the sleeve right there, and if and when I do take it out squirrel hunting, this is a perfect brush guard. Get a hold of them if you want to get one of these things. I'm happy with it. So here we are at the 15-yard line, and I'm going to send a 5-shot volley down there at the target just to see where we're at, and then we'll pretty much go from there. So let's go ahead and get her loaded up. Cock the hammer, pop open that action, reach into my shell sleeve, put shell in there, boom, close her up. Let's get the shooting. Alright, first shot ended up going high, so I'm willing to bet, just based on how the sights are, that's how it's going to be. Yeah, going high and left. We'll see if I can do a little bit of compensation there to try and get it more close to bullseye. Now you're probably going to notice already, if one of the online range officers hasn't, that I don't have ear pro in. Well, there's two reasons for that. One, I forgot to grab them before coming out here. Oh well. And two, because it's such low velocity and the fair barrel length, which is approximately 20 inches, it's pretty quiet. It's almost like a BB gun. No idea where that went. Well, looks like it's kind of going inconsistent, so this is what I'm going to do. Just so I can get grouping on it, I'll figure out the rest on it. I'm going to continue on with the bullseye for the next 3 shots, because it looked like the first 2 were right on top of each other, so then I can kind of adjust from there. Yeah, looks like they're definitely flying high. Definitely flying high. And that one was dead on bullseye. Makes me wonder. Alright, let's see what's going on here. I do not like what I see. That's not good at all. You know what that means right there? Yep, she's tumbling consistently. Each one is tumbling. That's not good. That's probably an issue with the rifling. Oh, yep, that one down there too. Okay, so welcome back. We'll do a quick recap. So the rifle is well over 100 years old, and from my prior experience, when I start seeing the tumbling patterns and the big shotgun patterns like we saw at 15 yards, well, more than likely the ammunition is not going to be suited for the rifle. Now, I already ruled out the high velocity stuff was not going to work out. I tested a few cartridges and it was no good. So I figured, rather I hoped, that the standard velocity was going to be low enough that it would work well enough in this. Well, as you saw, that's not the case. So we're going to change it up. I had to go to the store. As you can see, I've got different clothes on. It's a different day. But I ended up picking up a few boxes of CCI quiet 22s. Now, these are only 710 feet per second. These are very subsonic, and they're pretty close to what the old-timey black powder loads would be. You're probably going to hear me refer to these as 22 longs, because it's the equivalent of the old 22 long cartridge, which were underpowered, of course, just like that. So these are not the same as 22 long rifle, even though they are 22 long rifle, if that makes any kind of sense. But anyway, we're going to try these low velocities out, starting at the 15 again, and hopefully we can make some good hits. So here we are back at the 15, and we have the Subonics. Now I do have my Eye Pro, but you'll notice I don't have Ear Pro. It's just not loud enough to make any kind of a difference. The other ones were fairly quiet as is, but these ones, there's almost no report, and you're going to hear that in just a second. So anyway, aiming dead center with these Subonics, the 710s, and let's see if it does anything better. Alright, that is dead on, just a little bit high, which I kind of expected that. That's okay. I think we're looking good. Alright, that one went a little bit low and right. It's not really grouping up that great. Super quiet, and from what I can tell from here, it doesn't look like they're tumbling. Groups just aren't consistent. Well, let's see how that turned out. And let's see what we got here. Almost look like they want to group up, but they're just kind of going all over the place. So I'm gonna patch these. I'll give it a second volley and see if I can maybe get a better group. Well, I'll be straight with you guys. This isn't looking good. This doesn't look good at all. So I'll give it another rip at 15. If I can't get a group, I don't think I'll be able to take this thing any further, because it's just going to get worse from there. So far I'm actually a little bit disappointed, but given the age of the rifle, I mean, and then the inconsistency in the ammunition, you know, it is what it is. But I don't know, maybe a little bit more TLC will get it to shoot better. I mean, heck, it worked with the Quackenbush, why not this one, right? So anyway, second volley, technically the third volley at 15, and we'll see how it does. I don't even know where the impact was on that one. Not good. Not good. Now they're not even on target. I don't know what's... I'm seeing what looks like an impact all the way to the right. That don't make any sense. It was a solid ricochet. Rifling did look kind of rough on it, so that might be a piece of it. Let's see what happened. Okay, let's see what we have. All the way over here, that's one of the first shots. All the way to the right. Oh no. I think that's tumbling. Then, look like I got one or two here. But who's to say? Those are the only two impact marks on the target. That's not good. Okay, really bad news. So I was just shooting them off camera there, just so I could try and figure out what was going on. I went through and I repunched the bore, made sure it was cleaned out. Then I looked down the bore and it's in horrendous shape. And then, sure enough, look at each one of them. Now they kind of grouped, but every single one of them is hitting sideways. And not good. Not good at all. Well, bad news, guys. So I probably shot, what, 6 volleys at this thing, including off screen, and it was always the same result. Big fat shotgun pattern at 15 yards, and every single one of the volleys the bullet was tumbling. So I went through, I snaked it several more times, and then I went down and I looked through the bore, because for some reason I thought I already done that, and apparently it did not. And the bad news is there's almost no rifling present. It's very corroded. It's almost smooth bore. It's that bad. That's just a testament to years of neglect, possible black powder corrosion in there, I can only imagine. But as far as an accurate shooting rifle, I'll make some other attempts, I guess, when I'm not on camera, but no, doesn't look like it's going to work out. However, there is a silver lining here, and that is, there is such a thing as 22 shot shells. Oh yes. So, after I mess around with this thing a little bit more, if it is even capable of firing a bullet accurately, which at this point I highly doubt, my next step is using it as a garden gun. Oh yes. I believe that will be highly effective for little rodents and varmints and such like that. So stick around. Next time I'll give you an update on, you know, my further tests off screen, and then I'll go up to the store there and get some shot shells for this thing. I'm curious how that'll work out. Well, anyway, guys, kind of a disappointing video, to be honest, for everybody involved here. I was really hoping this thing would be awesome, but what are you gonna do, right? It's well over 100 years old. It's old. It's beat. I got it at a flea market. You get what you pay for, I guess. But anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.